The new Raka Raka movie, Talk to Me, has been getting a ton of traction in the media. The film has grossed $63 million worldwide against a $4.5 million budget. So it's safe to say the brothers made their money back. It sounds like a sequel is in the making and even a prequel, so we won't have to wait long for the story to continue warping our minds. And it's no wonder there are future plans for this movie franchise. The movie opened to a wonderful critical reception from audiences. A lot of people are even calling this movie the best horror film of the year, while saying that it's not only scary, but it also subverts a lot of well-known horror tropes in new and intricate ways. Audiences objectively loved this film. So let's take a look at what makes Talk to Me so different. Before we do that, please like and subscribe. It really helps out with the algorithm. Now, let's get into it. We're all familiar with the horror trope of teens fuck around and find out type of filmmaking. Think something like Ouija, or even a more terrible example of this would be something like Truth or Dare. There are a group of teens that become intrigued with some sort of idea that has a little lore to it. There's usually some backstory about how you shouldn't do this ritual or you shouldn't take something that doesn't belong to you, something along those lines. This is the type of story that the brothers Philippou has created for us. A group of teens decide to engage with an artifact that leads them into the afterlife, or the great beyond, or maybe even hell. They're not too sure, but they are sure that when they access this hand, they have access to the dead, and they can invite the dead in. There are rules to this game, but the teens allow themselves to play fast and loose with rules because things are usually wildly unpredictable with teen behavior. Rules are meant to be broken, essentially. Over the course of some time, we notice Mia is starting to see ghosts outside of using the hand. Mia used the hand for longer than the rules dictated, and as a consequence, Mia is now being haunted, manipulated by a ghost claiming to be her mother. Mia's entire world spirals out of control as she's drawn closer and closer into the hellscape that is the afterlife. Mia isn't the only one suffering from the consequences of not listening to the rules, however. Riley, her best friend's kid brother, has also gone over the time limit at Mia's behest during his turn. Because the length of time in which Riley was in the afterlife, his plight is so much more egregious. By the end of the story, you can't tell if Mia is saving him and sacrificing herself, or if she can't complete the task asked of her because she loves Riley too much. Either way, her fate is deafeningly eerie as she sits alone in the dark, reaching out for the hand so that the next group of teenagers can essentially make the same mistakes. So two of the best things about this movie is its actors and its writing. These two things combined really helped to create a very realistic view of what would happen if a bunch of teenagers got a hold of a hand that could pull them into the afterlife. The way the characters talk and interact with one another and interact with the situations they end up in, they're very believable. Making poor decisions seems to be a rite of passage for every horror movie. And as viewers, you sort of want to yell at the screen at the annoyingly stupid characters. But in this movie, I can't say there weren't any spots like that. There were some spots in this movie where I thought to myself, what are you doing when looking at a character's behaviors? But they were neither as blatant as they usually are in horror movies, nor as frustrating. The kids talk like kids. They also make decisions the way kids do, and they engage with each other in ways that make sense for their age. What I'm trying to say is that these are actual kids. We hardly ever get to see kids on screen, just mini stupid adults. And despite horror movies thinking that teens are just stupid mini adults, they are not. I do not feel like they dumb down these characters to the point of being comically over the top. I think that they make mistakes and there is a need to propel a plot line, but I feel like all of those mistakes and all of that propelling is within the realm of reality for the most part. So the hand itself is very mysterious. Its origins are unknown, and it seems as if the rules were just told from one person to the next down the line. There's nothing definitive about this object. We never get the extended backstory from a professor about how this artifact is ancient and has all of this lore behind it. Not having the backstory for this hand makes it even more frightening, to be honest, because if you don't know what this is, it can't be defeated. And by all accounts, it seems that the hand cannot be defeated. Its urges are only quelled when it has a sacrifice. The banality in its striking certain people at certain times, it's just sort of even more frightening than having some sort of backstory to it. There are a few obvious allegorical parallels that can be made here, namely drug use. The way the hand is passed around is reminiscent of teens trying a new drug. Also, the older kids are worried about the younger kids trying it, and even more so, the two characters who introduced us to the hand are like the cool kids, and they have constructed whole parties around this hand. I mean, that's definitely a take that I take away as well, but I try to look for the modern day significance of whatever the story being told through horror is. What story in the past 4 years has been more significant than the pandemic? This is purely speculative and largely conjecture on my part, but I'm going to make the parallels regardless. So during the pandemic, it was expected that most people would not shake hands. It could possibly lead to the other person getting ill if you had possibly been like sneezing on your hand, etc. In the movie, a hand is what leads you into the afterlife. Taking the hand is very dangerous. Another parallel I made to the pandemic is the different ways in which everyone was affected by touching the hand. The longer your exposure, the worse everything was. Most people were fine, but some ended up in the hospital and some ended up dying. So what did you think about Talk to Me? Was it your favorite horror movie of the year? I even saw a couple of people say it was the best horror movie they've seen in a while, not just this year, which I'm like, Hereditary is a thing, but okay. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and what do you think about my pandemic comparisons? I hope I can say the word pandemic on here now. I hope it's been long enough for me to be able to say that. That's all. I will see you next video. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. Bye.